Hello and welcome to The Lucky Roll, an eclectic channel for eclectic games. And today we're reviewing Marvel Champions, the card game. Now Marvel Champions, the card game, as I must remind you, is our competition game. So if you hit that magic subscribe button before the 17th of August 2020, you'll be in with a chance to win your own sealed copy of this game. Marvel Champions, the card game, is a cooperative game for 1 to 4 players based upon the Marvel Universe, where players cooperate to defeat various supervillains in battle before their villainous schemes come to fruition. Marvel Champions, the board game, is an LLG, a living card game, a phrase coined and trademarked by Fantasy Flight Games. It means that the cards you collect for this set are not randomized, and that there is a set amount of planned moves and mechanics that you can bring to play in any of your games. Whereas CCGs, collectible card games, which is what you would associate with games say such as Magic the Gathering, has a randomized set of cards on offer with every purchase. Now, whilst collectible card games offer you a greater sense of versatility and uniqueness, it tends to be quite costly, as an effective deck requires a lot of both investment and horse trading and, dare I say it, a great degree of luck. A living card game such as Marvel Champions, whilst it doesn't offer the same crazy versatility as other collectible card games, you have a set that's done, dusted and regulated for the game at hand. And that, to me, is what makes this style of card game more appealing, both as a gamer but also as a consumer. I know that I'm getting value for money with my purchases, and that every deck I add to the game literally adds to it, rather than taking a chance that it may or may not add something of worth to my collection. So when I opened this box and saw the multitude of room for expansions for the first time, I wasn't sighing with the sudden realization that I have added to my already long list of addictions, but I was excited because I saw the long-term potential and plans for this game, as would be befitting a franchise of a board game of this stature. Another thing that appeals to me with this style of card game is the versatility of the decks and how the game can fundamentally change depending on both the villain and the villain scheme that you play against. Every deck you add to this game, be it villain or hero, adds to the possibilities and variances that you can avail of. If it's a game that you never expand upon, no need to worry, you already have your money's worth. If it's a game that you do expand upon, you can cherry pick your choice of either heroes or villains, or both, to add to the expansion. It's a game mechanic and purchasing versatility I like, because I can stop when I want and not feel compelled to purchase more if the expansion character or scenario doesn't appeal to me. The only complaint that I have seen and experienced with this card game so far is that there isn't a set campaign as of yet. Now that is set to change with the rise of Red Skull, a future campaign expansion for the game. But every battle you play with the game is won in isolation. There's no real development of the character from game to game, so you'll find yourself swapping heroes from game to game after a while, rather than specifically owning or embodying one. Everyone, of course, has their favourite playstyle, and there's a nice variety on offer with the heroes in this core set. But nevertheless, had you grown as a character between games, it would have invested me a tad more. My favourite character for this particular game was Iron Man, and one thing that appealed to me that during the course of the normal game you added to Iron Man's armour and Tony Stark became more powerful as a result. Unfortunately, at the end of the game you reset to 0, and to me it would have been fun that Iron Man would have gotten more progressively powerful throughout several games, that his armour became better and better and better, and perhaps the villain deck matched up to deal with it. It's a small missed opportunity, but regardless, this is something I hope will be addressed in the forthcoming campaign expansion, that you can actually build upon heroes from game to game.
Do you know that we run regular competitions here on The Lucky Roll where you could win a board game for just being a subscriber to the channel? It's free to enter, so subscribe now to be in with a chance to win.
Now the heroes in this core set range from Iron Man Black Panther, Spider-Man, She-Hulk and Captain Marvel, and you face them off against Claw, Ultron and Rhino, as well as their own unique nemesis that may appear as an ally to the main villain of the game. They all play differently, and various player allies and upgrades can be played in order to make your chosen character more effective. The alter ego mechanic is also a good one, as it offers a chance for players to opt out of combat by adopting their secret identity and healing for various points depending on the card. For example, Spider-Man can switch to Peter Parker and opt out of combat in the coming round lest he be defeated, because say the villain Rhino doesn't know that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. But this adds to the scheme score of the villain Rhino, and if say Rhino gains enough scheme points, all players lose the game. So adopting the secret identity too often can result in situations where you survive the battle only to lose the war. Villains can only be defeated by physically attacking them, and they in turn can shield themselves with minions and side schemes in addition to their main scheme, a multitude of whom you have to defeat or thwart in order to get hits on the boss. When you inflict a certain amount of hits on the boss, it will progress to the next stage of the scenario, and the fight becomes progressively harder until you defeat its final stage, or you in turn are defeated. The mechanics are straightforward, and the player cooperation ensures a nice variety of moves and plays on offer, as players can coordinate and shield each other to defeat the myriad minions and schemes they face during the course of the game. Each character played with also has a unique obligation card that, once drawn, directly affects the playstyle of that player, regardless of whether they are the one who drew the card or not. All of which are good mechanics, and the game itself is enjoyable, as characters have to balance offensive capabilities between physically attacking minions or thwarting schemes in order to get a shot at the boss villain character themselves. Every action a player takes costs a certain amount of resources that is counted at the bottom left of various cards. However, if you use this resource, you also use the card, so genuine forethought and planning is often needed to defeat the various scenarios, rather than just simply spamming cards with hit markers on them. The variety of the game is also further enhanced, as each hero character has to choose from a select amount of aspect cards at the start of the game that is further refines their abilities and deck building potentials in a certain direction, and offers more versatility and replayability of hero characters. The game difficulty escalates with the number of players, as villains score scheme points at a faster rate and have more hit points, but the combination of plays that players can pull off also becomes all the more compelling. However, the need for genuine forethought and planning leads to a slowdown of the game rounds, and analysis paralysis can occur as players have battle plans upended with the arrival of unexpected minion or obligation cards. However, if you are a relaxed player with a reasonable degree of patience, this is not something that will cause you much consternation, as the added complications are what increase the stakes of the game and make it all the more fun. This is where I like the potential expansion packs for this game. The first pack I plan to get is Captain America, as his unique obligation and nemesis cards, as well as his playstyle, will change the feel of the game significantly and demand a variance in cooperation from other players depending on both the scenario and villain in play. It makes the game larger than just the luck of the draw to a more unique and tailored experience depending on the characters you play, which, if you are a fan of the hero, as I am with Captain America, the experience becomes all the more personal.
If you're enjoying this video, please like, share and subscribe. And of course, we want to hear from you. Post a comment, pose a question, get involved.
The components and art style of the game is first rate. The art style is interesting, and the game feels very comic book without being childish. The tokens are nice and the hit point counters are solid and colourful. The table can get a bit overwhelmed with clutter, especially if it's 4 players on a small table, and anyone who doesn't pay attention generally needs a sit rep every time it's their turn, as they cannot always be obvious at glance what is going on if someone zones out to send a text or order a beer. But these are minor complaints, and if you get a group that is dedicated to the game, it can become a very enjoyable and challenging experience. Even if you don't have a group that is taken with the game, it is also a very enjoyable and challenging solo play experience, where you can play as either one hero or a combination of 2 heroes to take the villains on with. Now, if you're as smart as Tony Stark, you can play with 3 or 4 characters, but the table maintenance becomes overwhelming, and the brains of normal people such as myself tends to melt at that stage regardless, so the optimal is generally 2. To sum up, it's a very fun game with great potential. The only thing that is stopping me from gushing about it to everyone who will listen is the lack of an overall campaign. But I'm hoping that the forthcoming Captain American Villain campaign, Rise of the Red Skull expansion, is one that scratches that particular itch for me. So until next time, this is Sean from The Lucky Roll. If you enjoyed this review, please like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. And until next time, good luck, God bless, and remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
Lucky Roll is the home of the best board game reviews, news, competitions and discussions. We cover everything from the game of life to Gloomhaven, so don't miss out. Subscribe now to join the fun. Hello and welcome to the Lucky Roll and to the announcement of our latest competition where you could win a copy of Marvel Champions, the card game. Marvel Champions is a cooperative card game for 1 to 4 players where players embody iconic heroes from the Marvel Universe as they battle to stop infamous villains from enacting their devious schemes. To be in with a chance to win a copy of the game, all you need to do is subscribe to the Lucky Roll before the competition closes on midnight 17th of August 2020. It's that simple. We'll then enter your name into the August draw, choose a winner at random and announce it on the channel soon thereafter. The winner will then have 2 weeks to claim the prize, or it will go instead to the next name drawn. And by the way, if you're already a subscriber to the Lucky Roll, don't worry, as you're automatically entered into this competition. We'd like to give a big shout out to the guys behind the online board games retailer Dice and Counters, the best source for all your board gaming needs, who have very generously sponsored the Marvel Champions competition for us. Check them out over on diceandcounters.com and avail of their great deals and offers. And stay tuned to us here on the Lucky Roll, as coming soon we have more great board game reviews, discussions, playthroughs and unboxings lined up for your delectation. So, until next time, this is James from the Lucky Roll. Get subbing to be in with a chance to win this incredible game.